In this video, I'm going to do some problems to support you with percent change. Percent change is by what percentage has a price increased or decreased in relation to the original amount. So there'll be a certain amount of money it increased or decreased by, and we want to know what is that percentage. So that's what we're going to work on right now. The basic formula that we can always use is the new price equals your percentage times your original. And then we'll just have to figure out by what percent did it increase or decrease. Let's just try some problems. I think that'll help. It says the price of CDs at a local music store increased from $16 to $20. What was the percent increase? Okay, so if we take a look at this, we take your new price will be some sort of a percentage times your original. So it increased from 16 to 20. So if it started at $16, that was your original. And now it's up to $20, that's new. And then it's higher, so they're looking for what percent did the price increase. So if we take a look at our new equals, we don't know the percent. So let's call that X. Times, what's our original? Our original was $16. And now we're just going to solve this equation for X. You did this in 6th grade all the time. What's the operation between the X and the 16? Multiplication. How do we undo multiplication? Division. So we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by 16. So X will be 20 divided by 16. So I'm going to do 16 into 20. I don't happen to have a calculator at home. 16 goes into 20 once, subtract off, drag down a 4. How many times does 16 go into 40? I think twice. 2 times 16 is 32. Subtract off, we get 8. Drag down the next 0. You can always use your calculator to support you. 16 goes into 80. I bet you that's 5 times. So we get 1.25 for our X. Now that's not yet a percentage, that's in decimal form. So 1.25 is what as a percent? That's 125%. But we don't yet have the percent increase. We know the new price is 125% of the original. So what was the increase in percentage? Well, the original was 100%. What percent did we add on to that to get up to now paying 125%? Oh, 100 plus an extra 25% gets us to the 125. So this right here is your percent increase. If you're now paying 125%, take off the original 100% you were paying, it's an additional 25% you're now paying. So that's you really have to think about what the problem is asking you. They don't want to know what percent are you now paying. You're now paying 125% of the original. They want to know what's the percent increase. Well, if you originally were paying 100%, you're now paying 125%. That's obviously a 25% increase in price. All right, let's try the next one. It says the cost of a ticket for an evening movie is $8 except for cheap night, when the cost of the ticket is only $5. By what percent is the price reduced? Okay, so this is a percent decrease. So we take a look, and we can always use our new price as some percentage times the original. All right, so if we look here, the original is $8. That's what it usually is. Unless you go on this cheap night. On the cheap night, the new price is $5. And again, it's a reduction in price, so the smaller price is the less amount of money is your new price. So we have $5 is some percentage. $5 is some percentage times the original. Now I have to tell you that won't be the reduction. That will just be what percent 5 is of 8. How do I solve this? Get x all by itself. 8 times x. How do I undo that? Okay, I divide. Divide both sides by 8 to get x all alone. So I have to do 5 divided by 8. Again, I don't have a calculator at home. So I do 8 goes into 5. 8 goes into 5 0 times. So then I can tack on a 0 here. 8 goes into 50. 8 times 6 is 48. Subtract off. I'm left with 2. Drag down a 0. 8 goes into 20 twice. 2 times 8 is 16. Subtract off. We got a 4. Drag down a 0. And 8 goes into 45 times. Okay, so this is 0.625. So what would that be as a percent? Oh, that would be 62.5%. You can always take that decimal, multiply it by 100 to get the percentage. But this isn't the final answer. $5 is 62.5% of $8. But by what percent was the price reduced? Originally you're paying 100%. You're now paying 62.5%. By what amount, by what percentage was that price reduced? By 37.5%. If I take 100 and subtract off 37.5, I'll get the percent I'm now paying. Let's just check that. 100% minus 62.5. Please make sure you line up your place value. The ones goes under the ones place. I'm going to put a decimal point here at 0. So I can't take 5 from 0. I'll borrow from this one. Make that a 9. That becomes a 10. Borrow from that. That becomes a 9. That becomes a 10. Borrow from that. That becomes a 9. That becomes a 10. So 10 minus 5 is 5. Drag down that decimal. 9 minus 2 is 7. Okay, borrow from that one. That one became a 0. Sorry about that. 9 minus 6 is 3. 37.5% is the reduction, the percent it is reduced by. So that's important. Once we find out what percent the new is of the original, we have to actually still take an extra step to find out what percent it was reduced by. If you originally paid 100%, now you only have to pay 62.5%. That's a 37.5% reduction. So you got to be real careful about what the question's asking. Let's go to one more problem. Juanita started a small business. In the first year, she spent $12,000 for advertising. In the second year, she spent 40% more for advertising than she spent that first year. What was the total amount of money she spent advertising that second year? Okay, so if the original, and now we need the new, and you know that second year she spent 40% more on advertising than that first year. Okay, so if we have new equals percent times original. We're looking for the new price. We know originally that first year she spent $12,000, but here's the deal. She spent 40% more that second year. Well, originally that $12,000, that was 100%. Now she's spending 40% more than that. 40% more. She's now spending 140%. Okay, so it's really important you think about it. 40% more than the original is 140%. So the new will be 140% of the original. So let's take a look. Percent, changing your 140% to a decimal. What's that as a decimal? Well, percent's out of 100. So that's 140 divided by 100. That is 1.4. If you, I know that some people hate tricks, but take away the percent sign, move that decimal point 2 places away from the percent sign if you have a hard time remembering where to locate that decimal point, or just know percent's out of 100, take whatever you're given and divide by 100. So the new price will be 1.4 times your original 12,000. Again, I don't have a calculator at home, so I'll do 12,000 times 1.4, 0, 0, 0. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 1 is 4. Put down a 0 placeholder because we're starting the next lot over here, and then 0, 0, 0. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. Add those up. 0, 0, 0, 8, and 0 is 8. 4 and 2 is 6, and 1. Move that decimal point over one place. So this year, the new amount she's spending is $16,800. 40% more would be $16,800. If she's spending more that second year, and you want to know the new amount of money she spent in advertising that second year, that first answer did not have a shot. She just didn't have a shot. That might be the amount of increase. If you take 12,000 plus your 4,800, this is why they give these answers here. That would be actually the amount she increased. Your final answer is 16,800. But sometimes I just like to look. Oops, sorry about that. I like to look and see, like, why did they give that as a possible answer? Well, that's the amount of money, extra money she spent that second year. All right, so just be careful with percent increase, decrease. You have to think about how is that percentage changing. I hope that helps.